Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday as you are listening to the show today. It is The Valley Business today, and it is Winchester Frederick Clarke's turn at the mic. That means I am on the Zoom screen pre-recording with Cynthia Schneider. She is the CEO at the Top of Virginia Regional Chamber. Cynthia, thank you again for filling in for Billy. I'm sorry to hear that he's under the weather, but I wish him better feelings as we kick off today's show.
Thank you. It's great to be with you again, Janet. Always a pleasure to explore what's going on in our region with you.
Today, we're going to kind of get in the weeds a little bit. A lot of the conversations that you and I have had about the chamber are sometimes what someone would say are at the 40,000 foot level. We talk a little bit about the overall chamber and how you do what you do and why. But today, we're kind of going to get in the weeds about your purpose, your mission, and your vision, because you guys take that really, really seriously. A lot of businesses throw that stuff up on their website. They don't really give it a lot of thought. None of their staff could probably even recite any one of those things if you walked up to them and asked them. That is totally not the case for all of you guys at the chamber.
That's correct. It is what gets our gee whiz gland going, as a friend of mine would say. And at every one of our staff meetings, we literally read off, if we haven't memorized, we're still working on it. Especially we have some new staff. We look top of mind. What is our purpose, mission, vision, and our core values? And we make our decisions based on the directives in those things that are in our strategic plan that guide us.
And a lot of times when you read them from some of these larger companies, small businesses, I think, do a fairly better job of disseminating what they mean. But a lot of times it's these big flowery words and you're like, yeah, but that sounds good, but what does it actually mean? So let's start with your purpose. So your purpose is to connect businesses and community resources for mutual success. What does that mean to you at the chamber?
Well, I can give you two great examples that are happening right now. One that comes to mind is, we have a community leadership program, and one of the sessions is community problem solving. And so this year, we developed a plan to have our CLP students assist the United Way in a big day they have coming up on Friday called Project Connect. That's going to help people in need. And so our community leadership program participants volunteered to help with that project. So here we have many businesses from our different representatives of the class helping a nonprofit for mutual community success, supporting people of need in our community. Beautiful example of how we're able to connect. Another one that's really exciting, I noticed yesterday's Winchester Star, that one of our newest members, Faux Bistro, who has moved into the old Firefly location, learned as they opened about the partnership that used to be with Firefly and NW Works. And so they've reached out to another member, NW Works, because they had staffing needs and they wanted to help get the NW Works staff, the young people that had previously worked there, get them back to work. So it accomplished a number of missions. One, it connected two businesses, one being a nonprofit, one being a for-profit. It got some folks back to work, and it's giving that purpose that Firefly had of providing good, solid employment for people on the IDD spectrum to have a place to come and a purpose for their lives, and our community to come in and support that type of work. So Just great examples of connecting business and community resources for mutual success.
And you are actively out looking for those opportunities. I'm sure people call the chamber because networking is a huge pillar of what the chamber can provide to its membership. But you're also out and about, you're doing other things, you're involved in other local nonprofits and events, and are always on the lookout for who can I connect up with who to make something better for both of them.
It really is. And I see it. It's really what brings my staff alive. I just see them feel so good about the work that we do and feel so purposeful when we're able to help someone succeed. I had a young business. He's about 2 or 3 years old now, and just let me know about a connection we'd helped them to make with a new employee who has strengthened their business and taken it to and helped them go to another level. And I was applauding him, and he comes back and says, "Yeah, but it's what you all do at the chamber, what Danita did when I became a member back when she was in membership, and the encouragement that we are able to provide for them and connections to a business that we hear. I'm aware of 2 websites that they got the business for building out because of connections through the chamber. So yeah, helping especially young businesses or someone new to the community find what they're looking for from a reputable business who's a community investor, because that's how we really see our members. They're not just people running businesses. Most of our chamber members are really people who care about this community and they want to invest back. And maybe they're too small, but as they come together as a group, we're able to make a bigger give back to the community.
So let's move on to your mission, which is to provide programs and services to meet the business and professional needs of your members. I always say that I know about all of your programs and services, and then you pull one out of your back pocket that I had no idea that you did. But talk to me about some of the programs and services and what that means as part of your mission.
Yeah, so probably first up is, people typically think of us as a networking organization, which is a major part of what we do because that's how we connect. We get people together, we convene, we gather the voice of our members. So one thing we're really proud of is we're back to in-person networking events. We had our first one last month. We had over 100 members and partners and guests there out at Regions 117 at Lake Trilogy, Shenandoah Lodge. That was amazing. This week, Wednesday night, tonight, we have Valley Business Women. A group of over 50 women are coming together to learn how to play golf and network. So if anybody just even wants a little laugh, they might want to just come out and watch, participate. We'll be at Rock Harbor from 5:30 to 7 as the Valley Business Women gather to network and learn a little bit because, golf, a lot of business takes place on the golf course, and it's not just for men, it's for young and old, men and women. Everybody can get out and I say, even if I couldn't play golf, which I don't yet, y'all could just come and watch me and probably have your giggle of the week when you watch me get out there. But just getting out on the beauty of those golf courses, it's just stunning, the beauty they have. But that's Wednesday night, and then Thursday night, the 24th, we'll be having an in-person networking event at the Wayside Inn and Lyric's Tavern down in Middletown. We're really excited. There's been a lot of investment going on into refurbishing that property. And so everybody's excited to come back and see it, and they're excited to showcase it. We have over 60 people already registered for that event, so it should be a great time of networking and showcasing what we do. That's our networking. We also have lead share groups that are vibrant. These are where small groups of people, typically about 15 to 25 members, will come together and share leads to help build their business. That one particularly is our Valley B2B. Those are business people to business people sharing leads, encouraging each other. And then we've got one called SING, Senior Interest Networking Group. And those are people who are specific to the senior network of businesses, senior population, maybe healthcare, clutter troops. They're one that helps older folks move that are maybe retiring or downsizing, changing up their lifestyle. We had a physical therapist speak for things to be watching for, particularly post-COVID. There are some specific things going on in the senior population that need to be noted. So that is, they kind of educate each other, share best practices, that type of things. That, along with our marketing mindshare group that meets monthly, again, groups under a specific industry coming together to share best practices. And that's how they can help professionally build their resume, learn more about their craft. So those are just a few of the things. And of course, our community leadership program. And this is pretty exciting news that this is our 25th year nonstop of developing leaders in the top of Virginia region. And we have had over 560 people come through that program and graduate. They today are some of our top leaders. They sit on boards all over the community giving back. So really proud of that program. Applications are being accepted right now for the class of 2022, which will be our 25th graduating class. They can go to our website, regionalchamber.biz. Application process is all online, and those applications are being accepted through next Wednesday, June 30th.
And Danita was on the show last month, and we talked in pretty great detail about the leadership program. And I gave it my personal stamp of approval because I am a graduate of the very first class, but it is a phenomenal program. If you just moved here or if you've lived here your whole life and you think you know everything about your community, you are going to be shocked at what you didn't know you didn't know.
Yep. You know, it's wonderful. I'm seeing some of our major organizations particularly use it as a great tool for new folks to their teams. So Valley Health and some of the school systems have high-level managers coming into the program, not so much that because they need to be trained as leaders. They're already very established leaders, but to help them to connect with other community leaders, because in the community leadership program, we introduce our participants to top leaders in all of the industries of our community to help them feel connected in a really deep way and understand what it is that really makes our community unique and how they might get involved.
So let's talk about your vision for a minute or two before we go to break. The vision of the chamber is to be the voice of business for the City of Winchester, Clarke and Frederick Counties. A lot of what you've talked about already kind of encompasses all of that.
It does. I think two unique things that I'm really working towards in that. One is that for our members, particularly, we become a hub of credible information, not only for them, but about them. We saw very much during the pandemic how important it was to get kind of funneled down information, right? There was so much information swirling around. And so people were looking for a trusted resource. And we feel like we were able to step up and be that and to help kind of funnel things down and give our businesses just what they needed to make decisions with. Because, you know, our business leaders are busy, especially our small to mid-sized businesses that, you know, the managers wear so many hats. And so to be able to know that if they've heard it from us, that we've vetted the information and it's a reliable source. We also know that when people look at a chamber member, a business as a chamber member, it increases their credibility because people do see them as stable in the community, recognize names. You know, if somebody's coming in from out of town and they know if somebody's put their business out as a chamber member, that there's a little level of accountability there. You know, people know who they are, they know how they're functioning. But we're also looking at this as being the way that we collect the voice of business. So that our membership, we have a unique way of being able to collect the voice of business on a nonpartisan way. We're a neutral party that we can collect the voice and hopefully bring that collective voice to the decision makers, not only locally, regionally, but at a state level. And that's something we're working harder at, is being a conduit of the voice of business so that our region gets the attention from state funding, social services, that type of thing.
And that's a perfect place to take a break because I want to talk about the Marijuana Forum, which is a really, really good example of doing just that when we come back. So can we put that at the top of our conversation after the break?
You sure can.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation for the Valley business. Today, we are chatting on the screen, pre-recording with Cynthia Schneider. She is the CEO at the Top of Virginia Regional Chamber. When we come back, we're going to talk about their marijuana forum. It is a public policy forum happening on June 28th. That is this coming Monday. We'll get more details for that in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a quick money chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday. As you are listening to the show today, we have pre-recorded our conversation with Cynthia Schneider. She is the CEO at the Top of Virginia Regional Chamber. It is their turn at the mic for the Valley business today. And Cynthia, in the first segment, we talked about the Chamber's purpose, the mission, and the vision. And it was really cool because I got to hear and understand how you're not just talking the talk. The Chamber is walking the walk when it comes to implementing those three very key foundational parts of the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, and I think we talked about lifting the voice of business. And one of the things that we have coming up that we really feel we're going to be able to do and be helpful in is we are planning a 3-part forum helping businesses understand the marijuana industry. As you probably know, there is a new law going into effect on July 1st that will legalize recreational marijuana to a very small degree. But over the next 2 years, there is a council developing, and there are laws and regulations, a lot of legislation that's going to be developed. And so we feel that we can bring the voice of business and the understanding of the implication at the grassroots level to our legislators and help them consider the voice of business when they're making their decisions and crafting the legislation that's going to be coming.
I think it's important because, like you just mentioned, and we talked a little bit about in the first segment as well, small business owners may have a perception or an idea of what this law actually is, but that may not necessarily be the actual fact of
Correct.
What this law is. So I love that you're including the education first.
Yes.
So they know and understand this is what it is and this is what it means. So they don't just think, well, this is how I feel about it. Well, you don't know how you feel about it until you know what you know about it.
Right. And we also understand there's more implications, like there's social implications that have to be considered. There's health implications that need to be considered. What are the impact of these things on our society and our community? Our focus as a Chamber of Commerce is on the business impacts and the business implications that need to be considered. And so we're going to leave those other topics to the other experts. Our first session is really a Forum 1, which is on Monday the 28th from 12 to 1 o'clock. It's online. Nobody has to leave their desk. We're doing it kind of like a lunch and learn. It's going to be a real 30,000 foot view of the marijuana industry. And the first thing we're going to do is have a presentation by a scientist, JMU professor, Dr. Dan Downey, who has been studying with a team of researchers at JMU, the hemp industry. And he's going to present some of the basic definition of terms, some of the science behind things, and a little overview of the hemp industry in the state of Virginia so that we can get our terms correct first. And then we'll go into a little bit of a review of the current law that's going to take place July 1st. That's our first step. Then we're going to have a survey after the event that will collect some of the questions. What is it that you need to know now? What more do you want to know? What more do you want to discuss? And so forum number 2 will begin to dive down a little deeper into the impact and implications of different sections of the industry. For example, I knew that there could be some opportunities for perhaps the agriculture industry, packaging industry, distribution industries. We know those are coming. Somebody brought up to me the other day that someone they know that's developed a specific type of software for tax filing. I hadn't even thought about There's going to be special things for accounting and your tax reporting. And so many different types of industries that could be affected and have great opportunity for increasing business. So those are the kinds of things we'll dig into over the next few.
Will you be doing these every month? Will they go every other month? Will they all be virtual?
I think we're going to stay virtual so that we can have a regional audience and regional voice. And we are expecting them currently to be every other month. So we've got June, August, and October scheduled. It'll be the third Monday at lunchtime every other month for 3 months. And then we'll see from there whether we need to go beyond that. But that's what we have planned for now. And this is being hosted by our Public Policy Committee. This is a legislative issue that we felt was important to help our members be aware of. It's like you said, you don't know what you don't know. So we're starting to all ask the questions of, what questions do I need to be thinking about when it comes to, we're all going to have to redo our employee handbooks, over the next 2 years. So kind of digging into those kind of conversations. What questions do I need to be asking? What do I need to be preparing for? What might I need to change in my current business?
Is there a fee to register for the forum?
No, we're very fortunate in that we have a new member. They joined last year, Blue Ridge Bank, who is sponsoring this forum, and that's allowing it to be of no fee to any of our members. It allows us to just give it as an educational opportunity. So shout out to Blue Ridge Bank for their major sponsorship in this forum.
And is registration required?
There's a link to the event that they would be sent once they register. So on regionalchamber.biz, there's a slider right in the center when you open up our website for front page, and just click on that and it'll take you right through registration. And it does not require membership. Again, we're doing this as an educational opportunity for the community, including, our businesses, of course.
So before we wrap up, let's touch real quick on an event. I know that a lot of the details haven't come together yet, but it's another perfect example of how you are connecting business and community. The Apple Blossom Festival is doing something in September instead of in May.
Yeah, so a little fun history. So we were going to do a September event, and we caught wind that somebody else was doing a September event. So we found out it was the Shenandoah Valley Apple Blossom Festival, and we thought, this is silly to have two major events in 1 month. We don't want to tax our community. We want to come together. So we reached out and decided, let's collaborate on this together. Let's come up with a really great fall community event, and let's help Shenandoah Valley Apple Blossom Festival. They've had 2 hard years because of the pandemic, and so they're adding this event to their annual events. They'll now be the May Shenandoah Apple Blossom Festival, and then we'll have this new September festival around harvest time. But then another great thing that came out of this, because they are planning to rent a large tent for events, now Concern Hotline has been brought into the mix. They usually do their annual fish fry in that same period of time. This will ensure that they have a tent, because in the past they haven't had a tent large enough to house the number of people that come to their event. So now, rain or shine, we'll all be able to have at least be under tent, share the expenses, and continue to have some great events that really serve our community. Concern Hotline helps with mental health. They're a tremendous resource for our community, a really needed resource. So we're all working together, kind of sharing the cost for this tent, but then allowing very unique events for each of our organizations to take place. So it is community collaboration at its best.
And then before we go, another community collaboration of sorts. Give me the details for how people can register for the Community Leadership Program.
Okay, they can go online to regionalchamber.biz. It's a completely online process this year. Very simple, probably take you maybe 15 minutes. The big thing I'm telling people is get your letter of recommendation in a PDF first. That way you can just upload it right as you're going through the application process. Very seamless. And that needs to be in no later than next Wednesday, June 30th. We usually accept 25 or so participants. So numbers are rising right now. So I do encourage people to get it in right away. The program runs again through June. August is orientation. And then September through May, each third Friday, all day is the session. We cover things like leadership development and teamwork. We have industry specific information with education, agriculture, nonprofits, government, economic development, an array of information. We introduce you to the top leaders in the industries of interest in our community. And then we have graduation in June. And this class, again, will be part of the 25th graduating class of this prestigious program.
And before we go, what are the details for the mixer tomorrow night at Wayside Inn?
Okay, well, we're asking people to pre-register just to help give a heads up to the venue so they make sure to have enough food on hand, because there will be wonderful hors d'oeuvres and a cash bar available. And if they just show up, we're not going to turn them away, but they can register online again at regionalchamber.biz.
And what time does that start?
Starts at 5:30 and goes till 7. And you don't have to be there right at 5:30. This is a free-flowing event of networking and just engagement with others.
I am beyond bummed because I have not yet been to Wayside since they reopened, and they are literally a block from my house. I can see the front of their place from my front yard, and we have a dog training class tomorrow night, and I need the dogs trained way more at this stage in my life.
Yeah, because you have 2 new puppies, right?
Yes, and the wonderful trainer is letting us swap them out. So one week one dog goes, and the next week the other dog goes, because as she so wonderfully put it, she's not really training them. She's really training us.
Correct.
So, well, Cynthia, thank you for taking some time out of your day to have this conversation with me. I do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Janet, and all you do to bring our community together and keep us all informed of all the great things that go on in the top of Virginia.
And along those lines, I am live tomorrow. Lieutenant Warren Gosnell is going to meet me in the studio, and I'm sure we're going to continue a little bit of this conversation about the legalization of marijuana happening on July 1st during the conversation with Gos tomorrow. So meet me back here just a few minutes after noon and brace yourself, because that's all I can ever warn anybody when we get together live in the studio. I'll meet you back here then.